Psalm 90 verse 17. Let the favor of the Lord our God be upon us, and establish the work of our hands upon us. Yes, establish the work of our hands. Genesis 18 verse 3. And said, My Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. Psalm 106 verse 4. Remember me, O Lord, with the favor you have toward your people. Oh, visit me with your salvation. Nehemiah 1 verse 11. O Lord, please hear my prayer. Listen to the prayers of those of us who delight in honoring you. Please grant me success today by making the king favorable to me. Put it into his heart to be kind to me. In those days I was the king's cupbearer. 1 Samuel 16 verse 22. And Saul sent to Jesse, saying, Let David, I pray thee, stand before me, for he hath found favor in my sight. Luke 2 verse 52. And Jesus increased in wisdom and stature, and in favor with God and man. Isaiah 60 verse 10. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Psalm 89 verse 17. For thou art the glory of their strength, and in thy favor our horn shall be exalted. Proverbs 3 verses 3-4. Let not mercy and truth forsake thee, bind them about thy neck, write them upon the table of thine heart, so shalt thou find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and man. Proverbs 8 verse 35. For whoso findeth me findeth life, and shall obtain favor of the Lord. Job 10 verse 12. Thou hast granted me life and favor, and thy visitation hath preserved my spirit. Proverbs 12 verse 2. A good man obtaineth favor of the Lord, but a man of wicked devices will he condemn. Psalm 30 verse 7. Lord, by thy favor thou hast made my mountain to stand strong, thou didst hide thy face, and I was troubled. Luke 1 verses 28-30. The angel went to her and said, Greetings, you who are highly favored. The Lord is with you. Mary was greatly troubled at his words and wondered what kind of greeting this might be. But the angel said to her, Do not be afraid, Mary, you have found favor with God. Psalm 5 verse 12. For thou, Lord, wilt bless the righteous, with favor wilt thou compass him as with a shield. Psalm 30 verse 5. For his anger endureth but a moment, and his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. Proverbs 3 verses 1-4. My son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments, for length of days, and long life, and peace, shall they add to thee. Let not mercy and truth forsake thee, bind them about thy neck, write them upon the table of thine heart, so shalt thou find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and man. Proverbs 18 verse 22. Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and obtaineth favor of the Lord. Psalm 102 verse 13. Thou shalt arise, and have mercy upon Zion, for the time to favor her, yea, the set time, is come. Daniel 1 verse 9. Now God had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. Exodus 3 verse 21. And I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, and it shall come to pass, that, when ye go, ye shall not go empty. Proverbs 3 verse 4. So shalt thou find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and man. 1 Samuel 2 verse 26. And the child Samuel grew on, and was in favor both with the Lord, and also with men. Acts 7 verse 10. And delivered him out of all his afflictions, and gave him favor and wisdom in the sight of Pharaoh king of Egypt, and he made him governor over Egypt and all his house. Proverbs 16 verse 15. And the light of the king's countenance is life, and his favor is as a cloud of the latter rain. Would God say anything contrary to his own words? Never! Then what does this sentence mean? Romans 2 verse 11, for God does not show favoritism. Here is talking about God judges all people equally. You, therefore, have no excuse, you who pass judgment on someone else, for at whatever point you judge another, you are condemning yourself, because you who pass judgment do the same things. Now we know that God's judgment against those who do such things is based on truth. So when you, a mere human being, pass judgment on them and yet do the same things, do you think you will escape God's judgment? Or do you show contempt for the riches of His kindness, forbearance, and patience, not realizing that God's kindness is intended to lead you to repentance? Romans 2 verse 11. This verse emphasizes that God judges all people equally, without regard to social or cultural status. God's judgment is based on each person's actions, not their religious or ethnic background. You have to read the whole book to understand what God means here. God judges everyone. Paul's message in Romans 2 is that everyone is guilty of sin and will be judged by God. This includes religious Jews and Gentiles. God's judgment is impartial. God's judgment is impartial and based on what people do, not who they are. God's judgment is final. The terms perish in judgment in Romans 2 verse 12 indicate that the consequences of sin are final and severe. God judges inward thoughts and motives. God judges not only outward actions, but also inward thoughts and motives. Jesus Christ is the judge. Jesus Christ is the judge, and His judgment is fair because He lived as a man and understands human nature.